it?
Well, I think weirdly enough, I was brought up in a very strict Catholic family and went to, Catholic schools of the most repressive kind. And in some weird way that got turned into this, fueled, there was a piece of that was about social justice. There is a kind of radical Catholic movement. That wasn't what the nuns were trying to teach us, believe me, let alone anything about feminism or gender. But, I think that piece, nor what my parents were trying to teach me, but that piece sort of stuck. I can remember earlier having, fights with my parents at the dinner table about racism and so on, and saying, yeah, but you say it's social justice and this, but now you're saying this, and so how do those go together? Well,
Yeah. Okay. Well, I forgot to mention at the beginning, Tara, whenever you want to jump in with a question, you're more than welcome.
Okay.
And if I don't notice, just go like this. Okay, well, tell us now. Yeah. So you go to Yale, right, for your doctoral work, and at that point, in terms of and you're trained in clinical and social psychology. How did that evolve?
Well, it didn't evolve. I sort of flipped from one to the other, back and forth. I guess it did evolve, but it wasn't some synthetic integrative process. Okay. And when I think about being at Yale, when I got to your question, have you ever experienced discrimination based on your gender? Like, oh my God. Oh, yeah. It was an incredibly inhospitable place.
Yeah. Well, tell us
a
bit
about that.
Your Yale experience.
And it's interesting that it didn't exactly translate it into my becoming a feminist. It had this effect of, I think, sort of cowing me more, like, well, I guess they're right, I don't belong here. Well, my class was really the first class to have any number of women in it. Previous to that, there was the odd woman here, there, the wife of some faculty member or somebody's research assistant who had slipped in under the door, or God knows. But in my year, height of the Vietnam War, men are getting drafted. College men are getting drafted, and graduate school men for sure are up to be drafted. There's a lottery. It's a complicated system of birthdays and numbers and so on. And so the department decided, well, we don't want women, but the men are going to be drafted out, and then who's going to do this, the scut work? Who's going to run the labs? Who's going to... and so they let in maybe a third of my class was women. But I remember the day that we were at our welcome talk, and the person who was the director of graduate studies, there were virtually no women on the faculty. A couple temporary lecturers who were clearly marked to be on their way out. The director of graduate studies said, men, don't worry. As soon as the war is over, we'll be back to business as usual with the women. Now welcome, with the women out of here. Welcome everybody. Wow. And, that kind of stuff just kept happening. I remember the head of the social area saying, I don't know, we boys always like to go out for beers on Friday, but now we can't. We can't take you. You all, you girls, you women. And then I remember the sort of bookend. My last year when people were on the job market, the same director of graduate studies saying, in front of all the final year students, don't worry, to the men, don't worry, there's a sort of premium on hiring women now, but we're going to jack up all your letters to make sure that the women don't get the jobs that you deserve.
Wow.
And I'm not sure any of us... Well, there was no, there was kind of nobody to protest to when the director of graduate training says that. Then what do you do? And by that time, there were a couple bona fide women on the faculty, not the women who were going to be, teaching for a year and then out of there, but they were brand new assistant professors. So what were they going to do? Right. It was just the moment before the moment when things sort of cracked open.
Right.
I remember one person, I can put names in, but maybe not in the permanent archive, who wouldn't allow women in his classes. Wow. Just officially. And that was okay. People thought it was weird, but it was legally okay, and so no one stopped him. because, of course, everybody kind of did what they wanted.
Yeah.
On the grounds that he didn't believe women could be clinical psychologists. Yeah. And he said it just made him too nervous to have women in the, given that belief, to have women in the room when he was teaching made him too upset. And that was that.
It's like Titchener all over again.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, except this is
Except it's,
almost 1970, 68, 69, 70, 71 in there.